So what's your podcast about?
Okay, this is making me feel really uncomfortable. Not like it. Is my mic on? Okay. Well then, let's go. My buddy gave away these clothing.
Oh my God. We need to do more clothing swaps with friends.
Yeah.
I would love that. That'd be so fun.
Be nice.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Quiet Coyote podcast. There he is, our buddy Clyde. Here we talk about sobriety without the silence. We talk about sobriety, mental health, wellness, entertainment, and everything in between. I'm going to be your hostess for today. My name is Jamie. If you don't know, welcome if you're new. Thank you again to my friend John Jeremy for having me today. Appreciate you, Mr. John Jeremy.
I appreciate you. The hostess with the mostest.
The ghostess hostess with the mostest. And to my right today, we are going to have our friend Emily. This is Emily's second time on the podcast.
Hello.
Welcome back, looking gorgeous in leopard print.
Thank you.
With your wolf cut? Is that what they call that haircut you have?
Maybe some do. Could be a wolf cut today because we're going with that wilderness theme with
Yes.
the coyote. I'll go for it.
We'll
Wolf
go
cut.
for it. Our friend Jamie was going to be on today. As you know, Jamie and Emily were on previously, but Jamie's a boss-ass bitch, and she's got to handle some stuff at work, but she's going to join us for lunch afterwards because this is the future past. It's Memorial Day weekend, so it's really nice to have the day off and spend time with John and Emily. And thank you so much for coming on down to us.
Thanks for having me back. I guess I didn't do too horribly last time
Nope.
to have the invite back.
You have a very good talking voice, I must say.
Yes.
It's all those years in radio.
That's right. That's how we originally met at WFNP The Edge 88.7 FM. Woo! SUNY New Paltz.
What'd you guys play?
Oh my God, everything. What was your radio shows about?
I had a few, but my most well-produced show was called Postscripts with Your Dear Misleading, and it was post-rock, so anything that fell under that umbrella, and it was my definitely most best-produced kind of show that I had. I had to fire myself once, actually. I was a program director, and I had a show that just wasn't good, and I had to call myself out on it, and I think that was probably one of the more challenging times I had because my friend and I were on it together, and I had to tell her, hey, so as the program director, our show is awful, and I am firing us, especially because we had one of like the coveted like 8 to 10 or 9 to 11 spots. They changed it, but I was like, we gotta axe this, and I gave it to somebody that was actually more deserving of that slot. So
that shows grace and doing things for the betterment of the radio. Because I feel like sometimes in radio and music, it can be very egotistical.
Absolutely.
You know, be like, well, this is mine. Like, this is my show. This is my slot. Like, this is mine.
I worked for this.
Yeah, I worked for this. You know, you had to work up to the 9 to 11 spots at the radio station. I had the 3 to 5 for the 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. So when I would close the 5 a.m. shift, I'd put on the song Constantine by Something Corporate because it was a 9-minute long song and it got me the time to be able to close everything down. But then at like 7:58 in the song, I had to go bloop bloop because he dropped the F-bomb, and you can't be dropping F-bombs on radio.
The dump button.
The dump button. Yeah, we used that a few times.
Or take it off the air just in time for the curses to be to out.
There
It was
you
an
go.
art, if you will.
It was an art.
You took it off of the live and edited your own songs.
Yeah, when I did radio, I had 2 different shows. I did a radio show with my friend Shannon, Miss Shannon from New Paltz. We did Sabor con Salsa, or Sabor. No, it's called Sabor con Fancy because my show was the fancy show, and Shannon did more Latin music. So we one couple semesters we combined our forces together. So we combined, like emo pop rock and Latin songs. And then my normal show was called The Fancy Show with DJ What's Her Face, which is a Teen Girls Squad reference if you are familiar with Homestar Runner back in the day. I usually did a theme every week. So whether the theme would be like, songs with music with all songs have music, Jamie. Songs with with colors in the title, or songs about girls, or like whatever it was. And we used to be able to record them on like audio cassette tape. I definitely have a lot of my audio cassette tapes at home, and I had to buy a Bluetooth speaker cassette player to be able to like play them because you can't do that anymore.
Yeah. A lot. No, vintage stuff is coming back, though. I see people, kids walking around with like cassettes and having flip phones now.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
Really?
A lot of kids having flip phones, so they kind of like fire themselves from their technologies because it's getting too much.
No,
so.
it is.
It is. Like, this
That's
little-
how wise of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That little brick like controls a lot of our lives. Even those of us who are like, I like to go off the grid, whatever. It really does. You have an automatic computer, an automatic whatever, an automatic everything like in your pocket, you know? Like literally I bought cottage cheese today at the store and I'm like, what do I do with cottage cheese to eat it? Because I haven't eaten it like ever. So like I was literally like, oh, I can just look it up, like how to like eat cottage cheese. I don't know. Like, 'cause that's where I am at 40 years old. I need to Google how to eat cottage cheese.
How do
you know?
I eat cottage cheese? With a spoon?
Yes, fair. You
Could
can put
you
them. You
use-
can also put them in smoothies. Apparently, you can make
yes.
it savory or sweet. So I'm like, oh, I'm excited to expand my cottage cheese repertoire.
Now you have me thinking that I want to come out with an album and call it Songs with Music in it.
You should. There
Songs
you go.
with Music.
Perfect.
Songs with music in it. There you
Nothing
go.
to hide.
Music. I love that.
Yeah, that's the divine intervention right there. But speaking of music, me and Jamie and Emily were talking this morning about,
Yes.
kind of topic ideas, which is adorable. Like, what are we talking about? I'm like, I don't know. We just kind of come on and talk. But we're talking about, about music, like that's how me and Emily met. So like music is very important to us.
It is.
And we were talking about investing in artists, investing in those experiences, because
Yeah.
those are things you're going to have forever. Like clothes fall apart, food exit your body. Okay, we're going there. Emily's a big Paramore fan, a big Hayley Williams fan. So you recently saw her live.
Yes.
You've seen her a couple times?
Yeah, so I actually have been very blessed, I think, in the past couple of years, seeing a lot of my favorite artists, reunion shows and just like intimate shows as well. And I was able to see Hayley Williams actually twice. One in a very intimate setting at the Beacon Theater in New York, where she did an interview with Jack Antonoff, and it was awesome. I didn't expect she was going to play some of her new solo songs, but she ended up premiering a song that she had released 5 minutes before she went on stage.
Wow.
So I was in it.
Yeah.
And her presence lately and her intentions are clear. And I want to be able to spend my time and money with artists that present the same ideals that I have strong feelings about.
Yeah.
So I think like she's definitely one right now that I am 100% backing. And this last show that I saw, also more intimate for her because she's used to playing arenas.
Yeah,
Like with
stadiums.
Paramore, like
Yeah,
selling
they
out
opened for Taylor Swift,
international,
Yeah.
international like tours. And she had several nights in New York. And it was I feel like I want to say it was a Hammerstein Ballroom, but now I'm like totally blanking on where it was. But it was another small show. And it was, again, another experience. She is a force to be reckoned with, especially live. You can just tell she also invests in herself, self-care, so that she can perform and pretty much like meet the money's worth. She also believes in like the eradication of dynamic pricing for tickets. She works, like she tries to at least work with all the venues and like tries to circumvent the Ticketmaster war. So I really, truly believe that like spending your time and money on those people that are trying to also give back in those ways, really important. So I could talk about her for like ever, but I'll
Hayley
stop.
Williams for life.
That's really awesome. I really like that she kind of you ever seen this clip of Kurt Cobain, and they were talking to him about the ticket prices, and he's like, "Who charges that?" Like they were like, Madonna was charging like $40 or $50 to see her. And he's
Back in the day.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, 'cause that was in the 90s, that
This was
interview,
his
right?
yeah, and he's like, his face is like, "What?" He's like, "How much do we charge?" They're like, $15 or whatever.
Yeah.
He's like, "All right."
I would love to go to when we were young, out in Vegas, because like literally every band I listen to currently and also growing up plays there. But literally, like festival tickets are like $500 on top of all the travel and stuff. So
Oh,
it's kind
forget
of
it.
like this monetization of like the things that bring you joy. It's like a little bit like messed up, But some people have the means to be, or don't, because they have credit cards, have the means and the time to be able to like do that. You know, that's why I do like, you know, the Warped Tours are kind of more local. They've been coming back again. I know our friend Jamie she's going to the one in DC, which is not too far or what have you. But Warped Tour back in the day, like it was like $20. You go to like Asbury Park. You know, me and my friends went when we were 16, and they let us drive our 13-year-old friend's brother, Dominic. Shout out Dominic and Aaron, who was also a guest, and Regina. So they trusted us to drive over bridges with this child, because we were children too, in the car to go to Warped Tour. But that was like such a cool experience to be able to travel and to like see that with my buds, you know, like my best friends and everything, and really just be immersed in the music, especially when you're in your teenage years and your younger years, you know, in your 20s, and like you're just trying to figure out who you are. And like sometimes artists can really eloquently say that more than you can in their lyrics and their songs, right?
Yeah, the dynamics really changed with all that, with all the music stuff, especially with what happened with like Napster.
Yes.
Those dynamics changed, so people weren't getting paid. Also, like nowadays with like Ryan, you know, like my little brother, he's on tour for the first time in Europe, so he just performed in London yesterday.
He did.
So I talked to him, been chatting with him every day. Actually, he got sick on the tour, and but
yeah, I know he has medical stuff going on, so good for him to be able to still tour and live his life. You know,
there's a lot of medical stuff going on, and then beyond that, more stuff that has to do with outside personal things that are happening. So it's like a lot, and just for him to be on tour and doing that. So, like at least from my own experiences, everyone has to get paid. So like that's why.
Right.
So like, you know, we're no longer making music. Ryan also commented on that too. Like I don't get any money for my music. I get like percentages of a cent. So I get 0.0003% for like a stream. Like I think a million streams might get an artist like $5,000, $7,000, something stupid like that. So like, you know, I do get paid. Like we get paid for the music.
Yes.
From stuff when people do stream it on Spotify or whatever. They handle that stuff, but so artists now, they're really getting paid for merchandise and ticket sales.
Yeah,
so
is anybody buying CDs anymore? Like I know I'm not, man. I feel kind of bad about that, but there's no CD players anymore. You know, like and that's
people don't buy music because you just buy. It's easier to just pay $10 a month and you get unlimited albums and listen as many times you know. Basically, you own all of the albums for $10 a month. You know what I mean? Which is a better deal, but. So those companies kind of screwed the whole music, and then that trickled down to like now everyone has to pay so much money for tickets because that's how much, because they're probably not even getting that much money off the ticket.
Probably not.
You get the audio people, the light people, the sound people, the security people, the venue. So like that, all that stuff kind of gets into
Never thought about that. Like that literally when the artist comes into the theater, it's not just they're getting the money. Like I just assumed the theater paid all those people, but that makes sense. Like I didn't think about it that way.
Yeah, everyone has to get paid, and I think the artist is the last person to get paid. So sometimes it just gets really, really crazy. Really, really sad and messed up. Like when we expand artistry, like I know, like for example, like Sylvester Stallone doesn't own any rights, zero rights to Rocky. So that's why he wasn't in the last Creed movie. He owns zero of, and he's the star. He created it. He wrote it. It's his. But they said, all right, well, sign over your rights to us and we'll produce it. We don't want you to star in it, but like you'll star in it, but you have to sign over everything. So he did. He signed it over, and he starred in all the Rocky movies. But now he doesn't own any of it. And the same thing with artists. A lot of artists don't even own some of their masters or any of their masters, which means that they don't get like I don't know. You probably understand, right? With the publishing and the royalties of that. So it's just how artists get paid. Like I get paid my royalties off my music. That means I own the rights to my music to an extent. So when you guys play it, then the distributors, whoever's my distributor, will pay me. It's a little. I know it's a little. Maybe people don't understand a little.
No, I think that's really helpful. So what I'm hearing is like, go stream John Jeremy. Let's put some money in his pocket because John's got some awesome music, and it takes so much love and effort and time and frustration and energy to be able to produce one song. I assume
it does.
Yeah.
It takes too much effort to do all this stuff, but
the sky's the limit, literally. But you know what's not limited is time. Time is a finite resource. You know, you cannot create more time. You know. even in like, medical stuff, I'm just, my dad's going through some stuff right now. Yeah, he had a surgery this week, and, like medical interventions can give you a little more time, but time is something that you can't get back. So that's why I think it's so important to remember where are we investing our time, and what is coming back for the time that we are putting into, whether it's people, places, things, our job, or whatever. Because guess what, your tombstone is not going to say best worker ever. So I feel like it's really important to be able to balance our work life, our creative endeavors, our family, and all that stuff together. But it's hard. It's difficult.
Yeah, I just told my friend now she has clients. She was building her own business. So she was saying that, and I just asked her today. I was like, "Oh, you mentioned that like you weren't able to make a lot of meetings anymore. You weren't able to do that. So like, may I ask like what you do for fun?" So she was saying that no, she has fun because like I know that I have to. I told her, I said, "No, I understand because like." I just said between work and I work for the church and my music and my creatives and the podcast, and like I could get so sucked into this and not pull myself away to have fun. So I actually had to force myself to like.
Yeah, like our friend Christy talked about, she literally puts in her planner, Christy, and blocks off a few hours sometimes in a day, a week, or whatever. And she's like, what am I going to do with that time? Which I think is a great idea for those of us who literally can't pull ourselves away from that. But speaking of things that we do for fun, I like pulling myself away from reality and entering into different realities, like with movies and books and shows and stuff like that. And we were just talking off the air about Obsession, because everybody's obsessed with Obsession. I'm not going to give away anything from Miss Emily here, because Emily is a horror girly, just like me and John. We're all horror girlies here. And I just took myself to see it because you said some great things about it, and I was reading about it.
I just my buddy James, who's like a big like geek, and like he just said, go watch Obsession now. What I want to say, kind of coinciding with the money stuff and the production. So I looked up the director. Like I found out they made the movie for $750,000.
Wow, because I thought it was a really well done movie.
Yeah, he's 26 years old.
Oh wow,
the director.
Yeah, I shared some of his comedy stuff on my Instagram.
Okay,
I don't know if you saw my recent story, but I'm actually looking for an excuse to watch it again. To be honest,
Okay.
Yeah. So if you need someone to go see the movie with, maybe John and I will come see. Because it's definitely a movie that I feel you may not be able to see everything in the first watch. Awesome. And for me, and for John as well, as people who are dating and trying to meet people out there, like you like have this idea of like what dating looks like, and then like the premise, without getting too much away, that this guy like makes a wish on this like apparatus, right? And he wishes for this girl to love him more than anyone else in the effing world. Oof. And she does. And where does that lead to? That's the premise of the movie. Right. And it was creepy. The lighting had a big play in the movie of like how scenes were kind of shot because you don't even know the other girls there, and then you're like, oh there she is. Oh my god, I didn't see her. Like it's just really well done. I thought the ending was fantastic, and it's just like I think the whole premise of the movie is like be careful what you wish for because it may not be all that you expected. So I loved it. And Emily's in a partnership with her man's, who is not a horror fan. So I think that would be some fun for you to go see it. It's probably be out for a little while still. I would think. I
mean, even just the premise of it in general, I'm sure causes some introspection about your belief in what a relationship and love in a relationship, romantic relationship, should be. Because like obviously I've seen some clips, I know the premise of it. When you're in a relationship too, that itself can be terrifying, especially when you start to get to know somebody and you're being vulnerable. Yeah. And then you start to realize that some people are just obsessed with the idea of love as well. So it's just, I love like horror films that take actual human experience and don't necessarily have like a hulking, towering, scary man with a knife that's an allegory for a human experience, but it actually is taking you in a human experience and walking you through it and being like, yeah, actually, you're terrified of this. Maybe you should be.
Yeah, the odds of something like this happening would be much higher than like a knife wielding maniac with a mask chasing you. That is like more fantastical.
Yeah.
This is something like when Jaws first came out,
Right.
like they were saying like, oh, now that brought a real fear, because that is something that is more closer to home that could,
Right.
I mean, in people's heads, it could happen more in reality, you know? So
Yeah, sharks live in the ocean. You know,
they're in the ocean.
We were
People were
talking
like,
about that last night. Me and two friends, two of my older friends. We went to see some live music last night. And then I was driving us home, and we were talking about it. You know how they are not into the horror stuff because they're like, it's just it's just too much, and it like, you know, just brings too much into their nervous system. Whereas myself, you know, especially now that I've gotten to sobriety, like, give me all the serial killers, give me all the horror stuff, give me all the true crime stuff, because I don't know what it is about like living a life which is true crime horrific in the way that I was living. You know, I'm not speaking for John here, but like, I think you can relate, you know, that I've lived through like horrors in my behavior and stuff. So I don't know why I'm still kind of like fascinated of like, maybe that kind of scratches the itch a little bit for me of like, you know, like I don't like, you know, go out there and be hoodlin, but other people are hoodlin, and I'm curious about why are they hoodlin? Like, tell me, why you hoodlin? So apparently now that's the verb. Why you hoodlin? So I feel like, you know, like there's this trope of like, you know, sober women, especially like we get sober and then we get obsessed with true crime and paranormal stuff and
does it freak you out?
Serial killers.
Like when you watch it or listen
No,
to
it doesn't freak me out. If anything, I feel like
comforted,
a little bit more comforted, but also a little more prepared for like what could happen, because like serial killers are out there. Like, that's real. Like, maybe not wielding a knife, you know, but they are people that you date. For instance, wrapping it back to the obsession. You know, like, there are people out there that have cruel intentions. Not just a movie, which was a very good movie. You know, and I feel like, you know, not only do I feel kind of like it's kind of ducked to say I'm a little entertained by it, but like, besides entertainment of like what is going on here, I also feel like it gives me a little bit of like introspection into the mind of people, and also makes me feel a little bit more prepared. Like, God forbid, like, you know, I start dating somebody or somebody's in my life who like gives off these like bad vibes, like, I learned to trust my vibes, like trust this, you know. Whereas, you know, sometimes they say in the, you know, in the sober community, you know, if you're in a 12-step fellowship, it's like, don't trust your instincts. And I'm like, no, I need to trust my instincts when it comes to people. Like, I can like feel that I can feel the energy in the room, like when people walk in, if they have good or bad energy, you know.
Yeah, that's funny because being in 12-step recovery has enabled us, like, I guess maybe some low key. Knowledge about things like this.
That kind of reminds me, like, you know, I feel like when you're in a like a relationship, for instance, and you know it's not good for you, like, number one, you don't want to talk to anybody about it because you don't want people to call you out being like, this is not normal. And there is a little bit of that in the movie, you know. But when also, like, when you are in it, you know, depending on like yourself and how you're developed and like, you know, your experiences in the world, like, you're blind to the other person's behavior, you know, at some points. Like, that's what I felt like watching Obsession. Like, I feel like he was just in denial about, like, this person because he just wanted this person so bad, and now she wants him. And, you know, I can, like, you know, more low-key, like, I relate being, like, you know, like, I was, like, co-signing my partner's behaviors because I just wanted to be with them, you know? Like, I didn't care. Like, it doesn't matter, like, how they were treating me or, you know, what kind of time or whatever they were investing in me. Like, I didn't care because I just wanted, like you said, I was obsessed with the idea of being in love, you know? So, like, because of that, I couldn't see, like, how this was unhealthy for me, you know? And, like, you know, towards the middle of the movie, like, finally his friends, like, kind of see what's going on. They're like, what's going on, bro? Like, whatever. But, like I said, I think he's just so, like, in love with this person and also fearful at that point of this person that he's like, I don't even know, like, what to do. I feel unsafe, so I'm just going to keep staying in the lie because, like, I don't know what's going to happen if I try and extricate myself from the lie. Just like me, I didn't know what was going to happen if I try to extricate myself from the lie of, like, being with these people because I wasn't secure in myself and, like, being with myself by myself, you know?
Yeah. People stay in abusive relationships for that reason. Like I shared about one of my friends, and they're just in denial about it. So I got to share about it with other friends because I was like, I've never seen this type of denial. Especially when they got really badly hurt last week, and it was like stitches and everything, and they're like, but you know, no, but they're not like that, you know, like they're good in every other way. I'm like, yeah, but that's like saying, like, I don't know, like I wouldn't take a, like it's just trying to get the, like if I gave you a delicious cake, but like there's a little bit of poo in there, would you eat the cake? Like, the whole cake is good.
Possibility of poo.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, there's a little poo in there though.
It's like, I'm not
like
going
that's
for
the
that.
point.
Yeah. Really hard to watch.
Yes,
that.
it is.
And it's even more difficult to be in it because you kind of like gaslight yourself into believing, like, you're like, oh, he's yelling at me. He's not hitting me, at least.
Yes.
And then he or she, hits, and oh, well, it wasn't that bad. It was just a slap. It's kind of just like I don't know. It's like, again, you're convincing yourself to stay too. It's just like, it's very hard, and obviously it's difficult for anybody to leave any sort of relationship, but then to add like a level of abuse to it, it's even more of like an entrapment. Like,
and even especially when you have kids, if you have kids with this person, or this person's like the support of the household.
Financial.
Again, there's it's just about having that kind of outrospection versus introspection, right? Those of us on the outside can see, like, well, why don't you just leave? Like, she's an independent. Just leave. Just pack up. Like, leave. But wish
it was that easier.
It's not that easy, because literally it's like
get in the car, girl.
Get in the car, girl. Someone will take care of your cats and dogs. No, probably poison them, and then like, so there are these layers. It's like a pyramid. They only see the tip of, like, just leave. Like, he hit you. Oh my God. But there were so many levels that led to that tip of like a physical altercation. It's about the power and control. It's about controlling the finances, controlling the phone, putting you down. Like, there's so much that happens before it gets to that point. Right. And people who are not aware of that, or who kind of just like, only live in their like, huckleberry bubble of like, everything's fine. I've never experienced that. They don't understand. And so because they don't understand, they can't hold that empathy and hold that space for that person, that's what they need. But like we talk about here, like, we need to take care of ourselves first. So if you have a friend or someone's going through that, and like it is too much for you to handle, like, it's okay to back away. Like, that person's their own person. You're your own person, Like, I feel like there's so many people, that we've met over our years as friends, and us too, that will just like continue to sacrifice whatever for a person, a parent, a partner, a friend, or whatever, and eventually you're going to break down, and then who's going to take care of you? I don't know. Because you got to take care of yourself, Right. So it's just very hard with those kind of things, And I worked in that field for quite a few years, and I literally work in it now.
I was about to say.
Yeah, we do. We deal with it all the time.
You work in that field now.
We deal with it all the time, And the problem with...
That's how you know about it. You know a lot about it.
That's how I know about it. I mean, just very briefly.
On a daily basis, you actually.
Literally. Like, so that's why I'm like, I like to watch horror things after my horrifying job, I guess. I don't know. I love watching SVU and stuff, but like some things, for our batterers, just saying like that way, just our batterers who are clients of ours, like they're like, well, I'm going to the DV program and I'm attending and I'm paying for it, blah, blah, blah. But like when that report comes back to us and it's like minimizing behaviors, not taking accountability, getting angry, upset during, like, that's the stuff that matters to the court. And that's the stuff that matters to the agency, to CPS where I work, So like some men, mostly men, not saying all, but mostly men. Yeah. Some men are not ready to like take that accountability, because hard. That means that their total world view is disrupted.
It's scary.
Yeah,
it's scary.
It's a mental thing, right? So do they have to? What happens with them? I mean,
I don't know.
They're not forced into.
It's kind of challenging. It's kind of the same thing with like sex offenders. Like, can they really be rehabilitated? I don't know. But it's a very similar thing. Like if you're going to like your sex offender program and you're not taking accountability, they're not going to graduate you from that program. So either you need to fight the case in court.
Oh, they have to admit it. Probably like
alcoholism. You have to admit it. Just like with DV.
I was just about to say, it sounds very similar. I have not worked on that myself, but it does sound very similar. I think like most things you want to recover from, you have to, of course, first take accountability.
Yes.
Admit it,
and kind of just take the responsibility. And I think that's really difficult for people, even in relationships, going back to relationships, like to actually change. Like I still very much struggle on taking accountability because like, again, you have to feel vulnerable. You have to be like, yeah, I messed up. And you have to like be exposed to people. Yeah. That's so scary.
It is.
It's so scary to be vulnerable and kind of take those hits, and also maybe like give those hits to yourself, because a lot of people that are self-deprecating, they're not always what you think they are. Like you listen to them, you're like, oh, like you don't like yourself, but they're also kind of protecting themselves with that self-deprecation, right?
Yeah.
So there's layers to all of these things, and like taking accountability. And even like me as like a sarcastic person, I hide behind sarcasm sometimes.
I hide behind humor. I understand.
And that's also something that's like maybe not so healthy. So it's like all those things that you want to recover from, there's like always at the root of it, accountability. So that makes sense.
Yeah, you know, and people don't, if they don't admit they have a problem, they have a much more difficult time getting through these programs, if they're going to get through these programs at all. And that's the only way to resolve, CPS involvement is you have to graduate from these programs successfully. You know, if you're discharged or if you fail to show up or whatever, you know, we're going to continue to be involved in your life, you know. And unfortunately, like you were saying, sometimes that like it's too painful, it's too scary, it's too much for some people to ever get down to the root of what's going on, which is why, you know, we have people who come in and out of the rooms of programs. You know, it's why people kind of stay stuck in their patterns, you know, because they're not ready, and that's okay, but that's why we all have individual self-agency, you know, about who we want to surround ourselves with, about
autonomy.
about what we need to do, you know. And some people think that love is pain, and like, well, I need to stick with this person because you know they're the father of my children. Or I need to stick with this person because, you know, they stuck with me through cancer. I remember there was this line from the Sex and the City movie where it's like, you know, Samantha was having trouble with her partner. She was with him for 5 years, and he was with her through her cancer diagnosis, you know, whatever, and getting better. And she's like, you know what? He stuck with me through my cancer diagnosis. I can stick with him through whatever's going on with us. And then Carrie's like, sweetie, you just compared your relationship to cancer. And she was like, ugh, like, you know, so then Samantha's like, I gave this relationship 5 years and 20 pounds. Like, and I need to see what else is out there because I'm not happy. And it was a beautiful breakup, as beautiful as a breakup can be. I was like, oh my God, so good. But yeah, you know, those are just some thoughts that kind of came through, you know?
I mean, you're married, right? You're in a healthy relationship.
Yeah,
you know?
as healthy as we can be, still working on things. We've had our own challenges. Like I think I brought up on the last time I was here. Something that's huge is when you have a child and you're trying to parent together and you have your ideals and their ideals, and you're like, wait, I thought we met in the middle, but now you're involving a life that you're responsible for, and those ideals that you do still have, it's kind of like a really strange like overlap or missing, like sometimes, you know, Jared's like that's my partner, he's very structured, and like during the week he's like, he wants Oliver, our son, to have consistency, which I think is important. So I try to follow that too. And in my brain, consistency is following through, right? He breaks rules, though. He breaks his own rules a lot, and Oliver sees that. So Oliver asks to break rules, and Jared's like, I don't understand why he's constantly asking to break the rules. I was like, because he sees you breaking the rules. So, and I'm trying not to be like rigid, but at the same time, like if we want to have this consistency and have these rules, it's like, yes, they're bendable, breakable, but it's like there's always that possibility that, you know, Daddy's just not going to follow the rules, so I'm just not going to follow the rules either. So
they say that for children, especially those children that we work through in foster care, like consistency and dependability is very important, you know? So that's why I'm like, you know, some children do better when they're in placement or whatever. But then some children don't do better because you rip them away from the only life that they've known. So now they're in this like sterile environment with those rules. They're trying to protect them. The rules are trying to, you know, give them some normalcy, and they're not used to normalcy. They're used to the chaos. You know, they don't know what calm is like. Their central nervous system is like, wah! You know, so I think that there's definitely something important to your point, but also something important in like teaching children to, you know, be spontaneous and joyous and have fun too, you know?
Yeah, so it's like the balance of like, am I being too rigid? Like, should we be more relaxed in certain things? Like last night, for example, like we tried to get him to sit at the dinner table, not in front of the TV during the weeknights, like just to have some sort of like, we're eating dinner and like maybe talk to us about your day kind of thing. But last night he's just like, can I just watch TV? So finally, like, you know, Jared and I are just like, well, you're doing so well in school this week. Like you're focused. You're bringing home 105s on your math test. Like, I think it's okay for tonight. I think that's fine. And then, you know, like we both look at each other. We make sure we're on the same page. But like maybe sometimes we have a discussion later, like, hey, like that was okay, but like let's, you know, and that's just something very little that I can like bring to light. But you know, it's just healthy as we can be. We have our challenges, and I think that's the biggest one. And then people say like money, and I guess that could be sometimes a pressure as well in a relationship. We don't necessarily have that now, but the big thing in the past almost 7 years has been like, how do we co-parent? How do we be a unit? And like Oliver is the most important thing to us, so we just make it happen, whatever that means. We do it.
I saw a picture today of baby Beefo. I love Willow. Willow is her dog. What do we call her? Baby Beefo. I don't know how did that name come about, baby Beefo.
So I loved this little vine of a little girl looking at a sunset. You probably remember it.
Vines? Yeah.
And she like turns to the camera and goes, "It smells like beef." So it became like a running joke with some of my friends. And so Ben Clark, you remember him?
Yes, Ben Clark.
So at the time we were all working in beer together. Like Jared knew Ben knew Jared. Like we were all working in beer. And there was one day where like Ben said something about like, oh, you should just like lean over and tell Emily she smells like beef one day. And I had no idea that Jared knew about that. So he did that to me, and it kind of just was this running joke of
and
just
you fell
like
in love with him?
Thing we're like, yeah, pretty much. And I didn't know Ben planted it. I was just like, oh, he would do that. But it was more so of like a development of the dog. Like it ended up being like, oh, I'd be like, you smell like beef, and she ended up turning into beef. And then I think it was Jared that said, why don't you just name her Beef? You're constantly just telling her she smells like beef because a little girl in the vine. So yeah.
So her whole name is Willow, but we call her baby Beefo.
It just developed into baby Beefo, and now she's the Snoot, or what else do we call her? The Stink, because she can stink sometimes because she's a dog.
What kind of dog?
She's like a cattle dog, like a Carolina cattle dog, I believe they call them. So she kind of looks like, I don't know, like Bluey.
Bluey.
Dogs on Bluey. Yeah, but she's like brown. She's like Bingo, or
she's like
Chili.
Brownie.
Brownie, not Bluey.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, she's wonderful. She talks to us, like she howls at us, and she's the best. She's almost
just
10.
like Quiet Coyote.
Quiet Coyote.
Oh my gosh, she's almost 10.
She's
Stop
almost
it.
10. She has like white on her. I was looking at her today, and I'm like, how'd you get so old? But
yeah, Kimmy's got gray hair on her back and stuff. She's 12 now, so she's getting up there as well.
We're all getting up there.
I have lots of grays. I can't wait to. I'm getting my hair cut in a couple weeks. I'm going for like a bobby kind of thing, so I can't wait to see all my grays a little bit easier because they be popping. Grays be popping.
Grays be popping.
Yeah. Well, we literally been talking for almost 45 minutes already.
Amazing.
The time flies when you're having fun with your John and your Emily. Emily, you know the dealio. Do you have a gem, a word, a glimmer, a crystal to share with us?
Pearl?
A pearl?
A pearl. Mm-hmm. Wow.
A topaz? A quartz? I don't know. We're just name all the elements right now.
I guess like I don't know. I think I've just been thinking of intention and how to spend your time intentionally lately, and I think that's why I came up with how I'm spending my time and money lately. And it's just, I guess, just funnel into intention, and hopefully you'll get it back in the world.
I love that. Funnel into attention. I love that. Thank you. That was good.
Of course.
High five.
Lufin.
Oh, Fins. Yeah, like it's Finding Nemo. Best movie ever. Mr. John Jeremy, do you have any wisdom, any final thoughts, any affirmations?
Yeah. I forgot who said it, but whether you think you can or you can't, you're right.
Nice.
Boom. Whether you think you can or can't, you're right. That's it. Yeah. Classic. I love the kids. Yeah, the kids do all these weird things these days. I'm like, I don't even know. Like, I'm a snapping girl. I guess from our conversation today, my thoughts are, try to understand. If you don't understand, ask questions. If you still don't understand, still be there. People are people. They're worth your time. They're worth your energy. And sometimes people just need a little extra time of yours to be able to really unlock what's going on, So those are my thoughts for today. But we thank you all for coming and joining us on another Quiet Coyote episode. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
And also, happy birthday. I forgot to tell you. It's Emily's birthday this week.
Happy birthday. Thank you. 39.
39. Oh, my God.
39.
You're almost entering our decade. We're very excited for you to join us here next year.
Goodness, I'm so nervous.
Oh my God. Stop. You look fabulous. You don't even look 39. This is wild. It's the joy.
It doesn't feel like it's 39.
Yeah.
I think that's why. And I realize, I look at my parents now, and I don't think they've ever felt 39 or whatever age themselves.
Yeah, I feel like our generation,
Right?
we're young. We're a younger generation, even despite our age, because we're taking care of ourselves, and that's important.
Yeah,
Intention.
honestly, I thought you were like 29.
Thank you so much.
We'll take it. You went to college as a baby. You're my baby friend from college. Thank you all so much for coming. We'll see you again next time on the Flippity Flap. Have an awesome day, night, life.
So what's your podcast about?
Okay, this is making me feel really uncomfortable. Not like it. Is my mic on? Okay. Well then, let's go.
Hey, everyone, look here. Quiet coyote. Quiet coyote.